There comes a moment in life when the subtle rhythms of an elderly person's existence begin to shift in ways that speak softly but clearly to those who pay close attention. As a doctor who has spent many years walking alongside seniors and their families, I have learned that the signs preceding the final year of life often whisper rather than shout. These signs do not come in dramatic bursts, but unfold gradually, like a delicate thread unspooling in slow motion. Recognizing them can be one of the most compassionate acts we offer to those we love, allowing us to prepare emotionally and practically. The journey toward the end is never easy, but understanding these signs brings a profound sense of readiness and respect. Scientific research supports these observations, grounding what might feel like intuition in real evidence. This knowledge, shared from the heart, is meant to guide families and caregivers to notice what might otherwise go overlooked. One of the earliest and most telling signs that an elderly person may be approaching their final year is a noticeable decline in physical strength and endurance. This is not just the natural slowing of aging, but a clear reduction in their ability to perform even familiar tasks. Walking a few steps may require rest afterward, or a routine activity like getting dressed might become noticeably more laborious. Research published in the Journal of Gerontology points to decreased muscle strength and mobility as strong predictors of mortality within 12 months. The body's capacity to repair and sustain itself begins to falter. You might see your loved one withdrawing from activities they once enjoyed because they simply lack the energy to engage. This exhaustion is not laziness or moodiness. It is the body's quiet admission of its limits. The decline is subtle at first, but it steadily worsens. When you observe your elder struggling to rise from a chair or becoming breathless with minimal exertion, these are red flags that their physical reserves are dwindling. Alongside physical decline, weight loss is another crucial sign that should not be ignored. Unintentional weight loss in seniors can be one of the most overlooked signals of approaching death. It may seem like a minor detail, but losing weight without trying, especially more than 5% of body weight over 6 to 12 months, is a significant warning. Studies in clinical geriatrics have linked unexplained weight loss to an increased risk of mortality within a year. This weight loss often stems from a combination of factors. Appetite diminishes naturally as the body's metabolic demands lessen. Chewing and swallowing may become more difficult. There can be underlying illnesses like cancer or chronic organ failure silently progressing. Sometimes it is the depression and fatigue that accompany the final months which contribute to the decline in eating. No matter the cause, the effect is the same. The body is slowly shutting down its systems, and this visible loss in weight reflects a deeper internal struggle. When you notice your loved one's clothes fitting looser and their face becoming more drawn, it is time to take pause and consider the larger picture of their health. Changes in cognitive function and mental sharpness often follow, marking another quiet but poignant sign. These changes do not always mean dementia or Alzheimer's disease, but can include confusion, increased forgetfulness, or difficulty concentrating. A study in the American Journal of Medicine found that cognitive decline in the elderly strongly correlates with a shorter survival time. What might start as simple forgetfulness can progress to disorientation, difficulty recognizing familiar faces, or trouble following conversations. This mental shift is deeply unsettling for families because it alters the person's personality and the way they interact with the world. It is often accompanied by mood changes, such as increased anxiety or withdrawal. Sometimes the elderly may experience vivid dreams or hallucinations. These cognitive changes signal that the brain's ability to function optimally is compromised and that the disease processes affecting the body are now impacting the mind. When you witness your loved one struggling to remember recent events or showing signs of confusion more frequently, it is more than memory loss. It is a subtle warning from their body that the final chapter is drawing near. Another sign that often goes unnoticed by those not intimately familiar with the elderly is a marked increase in sleep disturbances and changes in their sleep-wake cycle. Seniors in their final year often sleep more during the day and have difficulty sleeping at night. This reversal can seem trivial, but has been identified by geriatric studies as a sign of deteriorating health and impending death. Research published in the Journal of Sleep Research emphasizes that altered sleep patterns, especially excessive daytime napping and nighttime wakefulness, correlate with increased mortality risk. Sleep fragmentation may cause fatigue, but it is also a reflection of the body's failing regulatory systems. When the elderly are no longer able to maintain a normal sleep rhythm, it signals the decline in their internal biological clock and overall energy. You might notice them dozing off unexpectedly during conversations or refusing meals because they are too tired. These changes affect their quality of life and hint at the physiological shifts that often precede death. Finally, one of the most profound but least discussed signs is a subtle emotional and social withdrawal from life. When an elderly person begins to detach emotionally from those around them, refusing visitors or showing less interest in social interaction, it is often a sign of their body and mind preparing for the end. This withdrawal is not just about mood or personality changes, but a quiet inner turning inward. Studies in palliative care have observed that social disengagement and emotional distancing often occur in the months leading to death. This is sometimes called the preparatory grief phase, where the person starts to let go of attachments to the outside world. It may look like apathy or depression, but more deeply, it is an acceptance and readiness to depart. The elderly may stop initiating contact or responding as they once did. They may express less curiosity or joy. This retreat is heartbreaking for families, but it can be a signal that the person is nearing their final passage. Respecting this need for solitude while continuing to provide compassionate presence is one of the greatest gifts you can offer. These 5 signs are woven together in the fabric of what often becomes the last year of life for many elderly individuals. They do not happen all at once, nor in a predictable sequence. Instead, they unfold in their own time and way, varying from person to person. Yet their presence carries a deep, undeniable weight. Recognizing them allows families and caregivers to shift their focus from curative treatment to comfort, from striving for impossible recovery to embracing quality of life and meaningful moments. It gives a chance for conversations that matter, for goodbyes to be spoken, and for love to be expressed without the urgency of crisis. In all my years of practice, I have seen how acknowledging these signs brings peace rather than despair. It opens a space for dignity and respect, honoring the natural course of life. Modern medicine, with all its advances, cannot always prevent this final stage, but it can help us understand it better so we can walk through it with grace. These signs, backed by research and grounded in real-world experience, remind us that death is not a failure, but part of the human journey. To see them clearly is to be given a rare kind of wisdom and compassion. If you find yourself noticing these changes in someone you care for, do not ignore them. Reach out for support, gather your loved ones, and create space for care that nurtures both body and spirit. This is the true medicine we offer in the face of life's inevitable end. How can families support their loved ones? When these signs appear, when families begin to notice the subtle signs that their elderly loved ones may be entering their final year of life, a profound shift takes place in how they care, how they communicate, and how they prepare. It is a time filled with uncertainty, sorrow, and sometimes fear. Yet it is also a moment ripe with opportunity, an opportunity to offer support that is both practical and deeply meaningful. Understanding how to support your loved ones during this phase requires not only compassion, but knowledge backed by research. Studies in geriatric medicine and palliative care repeatedly show that the involvement of family plays a crucial role in improving the quality of life and easing the emotional burden for seniors nearing the end. What you do and how you show up matters more than you might imagine. First and foremost, supporting an elderly family member in their final year involves listening with intention. This means going beyond the surface of their words to sense the emotions behind them. The changes in health and spirit can be confusing and frightening for them, and often they hesitate to speak openly about their fears or discomfort. A study published in the Journal of Palliative Medicine highlights that active listening by family members significantly reduces anxiety and depression in terminally ill patients. When you create a safe space where your loved one feels heard without judgment, it validates their experience and strengthens your connection. Sometimes they might express frustration, sadness, or even anger. Allow these emotions to surface and respond with patience. The simple act of listening deeply can be a source of comfort stronger than any medicine. Alongside listening, presence is one of the most powerful forms of support. Being physically and emotionally present with your loved one, even when words fail, communicates care on a profound level. Research from the National Institute on Aging emphasizes that emotional presence reduces feelings of isolation and improves overall well-being in seniors facing serious illness. This does not mean you need to be at their side every moment, but regular visits, shared meals, or even sitting quietly together can offer reassurance. In a time when their world may feel smaller and more uncertain, your presence becomes an anchor. The elderly person senses that they are not alone in this journey, which can ease their emotional burden significantly. Families should also focus on practical support tailored to the individual's changing needs. The physical decline that often accompanies the final year means that simple tasks can become challenging. Helping with daily activities such as bathing, dressing, or meal preparation is not just about convenience. Studies in caregiving have shown that when families assist with these basic functions, it reduces the risk of accidents, malnutrition, and hospitalizations. It is important to balance assistance with respect for independence. Encourage your loved one to do what they can on their own, stepping in when necessary to prevent exhaustion or injury. This balance helps maintain dignity, which is vital for emotional health in the final months. Another key element is managing medical care proactively. Families often feel overwhelmed by the complexity of health issues and treatment options. Here, knowledge and advocacy become your strongest tools. Research published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society reveals that family involvement in medical decision-making leads to better symptom management and fewer emergency interventions. Work closely with doctors, nurses, and care teams to understand the prognosis and available options. Help your loved one express their preferences about treatments and interventions. This might include decisions about pain management, hospitalizations, or hospice care. Making these choices ahead of time reduces stress during crises and honors the senior's wishes. Communication within the family is equally important. A coordinated approach helps ensure consistent support and prevents misunderstandings. Family meetings can be a good way to share information and divide responsibilities. The challenge is to keep these conversations grounded in empathy and focused on the needs of your loved one, rather than disagreements. Research shows that families who communicate openly about end-of-life care experience less conflict and greater emotional resilience. When everyone understands the situation and the plan, the elderly person benefits from a united network of care. Emotional support for the elderly often goes hand in hand with addressing spiritual or existential concerns. Many seniors face questions about the meaning of life, regrets, or fears about death itself. While not everyone is religious, studies indicate that spiritual well-being correlates with lower levels of depression and higher quality of life near the end. Encouraging your loved one to explore their beliefs or to speak with spiritual counselors or trusted advisors can be deeply comforting. Even simple acts like sharing stories, reminiscing about happy memories, or creating rituals can help the elderly person find peace. The family's role is to gently invite and support these explorations without pressure or judgment. At the same time, families must not neglect their own well-being. Caring for a loved one in their final year is emotionally draining and can lead to burnout. Studies from the Caregiver Stress Institute show that caregivers often suffer from anxiety, depression, and physical health problems if they do not seek support. Taking time for self-care, asking for help from friends or professionals, and using respite services when available is essential. By caring for yourself, you ensure that you can be fully present and effective for your loved one. Remember, you are part of the support system too. Lastly, celebrating life even as it nears its end can be a source of great strength. This may sound paradoxical, but research in palliative care reveals that moments of joy, laughter, and connection improve emotional well-being and even physical symptoms. Families can create small but meaningful experiences. Looking through photo albums, sharing favorite meals, playing music, or simply holding hands. These moments remind everyone involved that life is valuable and precious, regardless of its length. They foster gratitude and deepen bonds, leaving lasting memories that soften the pain of loss. Supporting a loved one through their final year is an act of courage, love, and humility. It demands attention to both the visible and invisible changes, a willingness to walk alongside them without trying to fix everything, and a commitment to honor their dignity and wishes. Scientific evidence affirms that family involvement not only improves the elderly person's comfort and emotional health, but also influences the quality of care they receive. The journey is difficult, but it can also be deeply meaningful if approached with openness and compassion. If you are facing this path, know that your presence, your listening, your practical help, and your love are the greatest gifts you can offer. These gifts do not erase the pain, but help carry it in a way that lightens the heart and honors the sacredness of life's final chapter.